Good evening, or at least for myself, good evening. I'm not quite sure when this is going to be uploaded and thus viewed by you, so good morning if it's good morning. This is Noah, my son, and those of you who attend Coast Community Church already know that my wife and I have recently had twins, and thus have our hands full. So a big thank you for my wife doubling as camerawoman and feeding my daughter to try and get her to bed, and thus, I just finished feeding Noah, and I'm trying to let him calm down and get to bed. But in the middle of all that, I wanted to share something that God has kind of put on my mind. You see, we have some candles over here that I've lit for a little bit of symbolism. I think of fire in general and what it represents. As you see, last night, my men's community had a bonfire, and it was fun. And we got to burn some debris on the property, some logs, timber, things we had chopped down recently, things that have been there for a while. But, in general, we got some work done. Had hamburgers and hot dogs, and it was a good day, or a good evening. But it got me thinking today about fire and its destructive properties, but also its building properties. Most people don't think about how fire is what's used at the power plants. You burn the coal heats up water, creates steam, and it turns turbines. Thus we have power. I have lights at my house. I can charge my phone at night. But with that power, we can use tools to build things, and we can create massive buildings, numerous objects, cars, and it all started with fire. So I think about how amazing that is. And then I think about, in the end, when it's all used up and, when a tool breaks down or when a building is run down, it's dismantled and put in the fire. Now, we use landfills for the most part in the big scale things, but I do think of good old-fashioned South Mississippi. If you're in the county, you're probably burning your old stuff with fire because there's no laws on it. Just keep it safe, you're good to go. So here's the scripture that came to mind when I was thinking about this. It's Matthew 6, verse 28. And why do you worry about clothes? See how the lilies of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, and tomorrow thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? So, even biblical teachings remind us about how things are temporary, things don't last. So are you building something that will last beyond this lifetime? Kids are a good example of passing on a legacy. Right, Noah? Are you willing to get the Fontes legacy? But even more so, think about your spiritual life. Think about the things that go on beyond your next of kin. And don't let it burn out.